This is Boadu TV. Truth and integrity.
Aye Body TV, yaba munyi na kwa ba fambra so. PDS asem no oni mu details anya wotre. Abanda da etwa mu fura tablet so no se ECG eboka. Na the one omo ye no so na light no omo hu se na ombeton no manyeska no dia ma Ghana nti no nkofa PDS by say ombe take over ECG. Deals ni sike kom de na nya seketwa. Na Paul am I the real deal? Now, Hawa Koomson and Naa Koryoo. I want to say now, Kaswa. Country in a country, no, mom, my Jimmy we to na we fabricated fake stories. Hey, and if I'm anyway, Joe, you bet 2 million now. And also, Paul Adomachiri, Abu for the first time I pour wafire. Naa Koryoo asemi ho entinya paternity.
Ghanaians observing the campaign one day heard that they had been shooting in Kaswa. Hawa Koomson was already quite disliked by the NDC, given her very frontal role in the disturbances that occurred in Parliament on the 7th of January. Hawa Koomson stood her ground on the issue of who will sit on which chair. And she was very brutal. She's a very strong woman, those of you who know her. And she was very brutal in insisting that some chairs were for the majority and some chairs were for the minority. Photographs and videos came up and she was painted out as a violent woman, etc., etc. So that had been her record, and she was an anti-person as far as the NDC was concerned. So when this story broke and the Honorable Koryoo alleged that, she didn't quite allege, she said Hawa had shot at her. And had shot and 2 people had died. It sort of fitted into the story of Hawa Koomson is violent. So this is what she put out on 7th, was it 7th December 2024? The election day, that is. Hawa Koomson tried to kill me. 2 of my agents are dead. I am beginning to guess that this happened before voting ended. Now, if in the middle of voting, this is published by a woman who has already been propaganded as violent, and you see this one, you are naturally going to be concerned about it. So this is the first thing she put out. And then she went on TV3 to speak about what had happened. And then later on, she was granted an interview by our friend Captain Smart on Onua FM about what has happened. Let's see first what she said to TV3.
This is one of the collective centers, which is Iron City. I went to step to Christ first. I realized that there was a DA, which is Hawa Koomson's DA, with the boys, Tima, and the rest. The same boys I complained about. They have followed me and they have shot one of my guys. In fact, they shot at my car several times.
I see. And what's the situation there where you are now?
One guy is dead. It is so peaceful. Obviously, when someone is dead, how can it be peaceful? How can it be calm? There's a dead person lying down there. I want to think I killed someone. He wants to take my life, and he has killed someone.
Yeah, so you heard the narration. Let's move on. No, I'm not here yet, am I? I'm now on Muntaka's statement, isn't it? Do you have Muntaka's statement? Yes. Let's look at Muntaka. We are not here yet. So next, let's look at the President Mahama then commissioned an inquiry into all of the violence of 2020 and 2024, including this one, which was very heavy on the agenda. The Minister of Interior reported to the media on the government accountability platform of Felix Kwakye Ofosu, and this was he said.
2024, the scene of the incident.
Now, said before a commission of inquiry where she had to speak under oath, the Honorable Member of Parliament, whom you heard narrating and was crying. I mean, when she was talking to Captain Smart, she was sober. It was like she was crying. She had been traumatized. She, Baby Groma people, are they there? The School of Performing Arts at the University of Ghana. They need her. Madam Honorable Koryoo, maybe you missed your way. You should be doing what Jifa Gomashi, the tourism minister, knows how to do very well. To go to the School of Performing Arts at the University of Ghana and become a great actress. I think you will be a great actress because the way you can dramatize when there's nothing happening, I admire you for that. It's really, really heartbreaking. This is what the Interior Minister said. He said, Phyllis Naa Koryoo Okeno denied her convoy was attacked. Koryoo, okay, Phyllis Naa Koryoo Okeno denied her convoy was attacked, stating she was not at the scene. Those involved have refused to speak with the task force. This is quite shocking. So she goes before the committee. Everything she told Captain Smart then, she erased it before she's at the committee, that nothing had happened. Her convoy had not been attacked. Because here at the committee, she needed to provide evidence of what she's saying. That's why we always say that propaganda is different from speaking in court or speaking before a committee. At the propaganda platform, you can say anything. But once you get into a committee or into court and you have to defend what you are saying, they backpedal, they develop cold feet because they were just speaking lies, concoction for political gain. That's something we have to identify perhaps in our behavioral patterns for politicians. Concoction of stories for political gain. If people do that, there has to be some sanctions for it because there was too many of that in our last 2-3 elections, particularly 2024. So much happened. So this is what happened. Now, today, after she's receiving flack from young people all over the place who are completely shocked, the Gen Zs are completely shocked because they were all outraged by the story when they heard it. That why is Hawa Koomson who's shooting at people on election day? Now they are all very worried. Was she really lying? Could she have been lying? Is it possible that she was lying? But why? An honorable member of parliament. She wants to go to parliament and she wants to go to parliament with this dramatic lies. You know, in a situation where now the writ of defamation may lie in favor of Hawa Koomson. She can take out a writ of defamation and sue her because she has actually confessed that she was lying. I mean, what is this? Let's see what she said today. Let's see. Have a look.
At no time did I say no attack happened. I stated emphatically to the task force that on election day during my rounds, I noticed my convoy was being followed by a V8 vehicle, allegedly known to be used by Hawa Koomson and a NADMO pickup, which had a green government number plate. After visiting some polling stations, I decided to go home because I felt my life was in danger. So I am convinced that at the conclusion of this investigation, the truth will emerge. Let me end by saying that as the sitting member of the good people of Ewutu Senya East constituency, I consider myself a mother for all.
What does that mean? What does consider yourself? You are telling lies. They're asking you, you say you're a mother for all. Are you going to teach the children that you are mothering these lies and that's how they're going to grow into citizens of Ghana? These lies that you are telling, that's what you're going to teach children that you are the mother to? You consider yourself a mother for all. So you have to be telling lies about another mother so that you win the election. You see how these things are? This is politics. And you see, as we continue to do that, the general public lose interest in the politics. Now, tomorrow, there's another election. An MP comes from the Galamsey periodical, it's TV, and he says that Collins Dowda shot at me. They'll say, hey, yeah, these politicians, when they say these things, they don't mean it to. That's what Koryoo did in 2024. That's what is going to happen. So the credibility of politics is going down the drain because the principal political actors have refused to fight the fight with the real tools of fighting. The battle of vision, the battle of a program, the battle of a policy. They refuse to use those tools because sometimes they can't use them. So they go for unorthodox tools. And it ends us here where an MP is blatantly lying. She lied about everything just so that she will draw sympathy onto herself and then she might win the votes. She won. Today, she's still talking. She says that she never told the committee that she wasn't attacked. Please play that video again. That thing she did at Parliament today. Please play that video again. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Ewutu Senya. Let's see it again.
At no time did I say no attack happened. I stated emphatically to the task force that on the election day, during my rounds, I noticed my convoy was being followed by a V8 vehicle, allegedly known to be used by Hawa Koomson and a NADMO pickup, which had a green government number plate. After visiting some polling stations, I decided to go home because I felt my life was in danger. So I am convinced that at the conclusion of this investigation, the truer facts will emerge. Let me end by saying that as the sitting member of the good people of Ewutu Senya East constituency, I consider myself a mother for all.
I consider myself a mother for all, so I was lying that you people will vote for me, then I become mother for many. Madam, this is not nice. This one is not nice at all. This is the politics that we are practicing in Ghana for the future of Ghana, so democracy will be sustained. Democracy is already under threat. When you add these concocted stories so that you get elected, you are getting the youth to lose interest in all of these enterprise. And they later on, they're looking for another system of government where these things are not permissible. And that's a system of government with the soldiers holding a gun. That's where it's not permissible. You can't do that. You really need to apologize, not even to Hawa Koomson. Forget about Hawa Koomson. She's your competitor. You may not like her. She may not like you. That's okay. But don't apologize to her. Apologize to the young people who followed you in Kaswa. That group of people, the young people, the NDC women who were trolling to your rallies, the women who are 25, 27, 32, 19, who were coming to your rallies and who had faith in you. Tonight, you have let their faith down. You've dropped the ball. You've broken the bottle because you lied. What more can we say? We can't say much. We are only commentators. We are not the Speaker of Parliament. And I don't know whether the Speaker of Parliament is interested in what has been happening. But at the end of the day, Hawa Koomson has calmly issued a statement, and the statement is as follows. She says, I have taken note of the recent revelations by the Honorable Minister for the Interior, the Honorable Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak, regarding the findings of investigations into election-related violence, including the tragic incident at Kaswa. The minister's report confirms that 21 suspects have been identified, that there were clear breaches of discipline by some security officers, and that the use of firearms in certain situations was unjustified. These findings affirm what I have consistently maintained, that the Kaswa incident was the result of security lapse, institutional failures, not the actions or instigation of any individual. For years, I've endured harsh and unfair public attacks. I was branded violent, reckless, and unfit for office through sensational and misleading headlines. The judgment was swift and painful. Today, the Interior Minister's findings have vindicated me, confirming that the violence was not directed by me, but stemmed from broader systemic failures in election security coordination. The unjustified accusations and intense vilification I faced even led to my assault during the rerun of 19 polling stations in Ablekuma North, where I had gone peacefully to monitor the proceedings. That experience remains one of the darkest moments of my public life, a reminder of how false narratives can destroy reputations and endanger lives. While I take no delight in revisiting these painful experiences, I extend my deepest sympathies to the families of all victims of electoral violence. Their loss must be our national lesson. I fully support the Interior Minister's recommendations, including compensation for victims, enhanced police training, the use of non-lethal crowd control tools, and the discontinuation of military involvement in election crowd control operations. I call on all Ghanaians, especially political actors and the media, to exercise calm reflection and responsibility. Let us avoid misinformation, incitement, and divisive rhetoric. This moment calls not for blame, but for introspection, justice, and national unity. May this truth restore faith in our institutions and strengthen our democracy. Let us all pledge that never again should political competition lead to the loss of lives of Ghanaians. And is signed by the Honorable Mavis Hawa Koomson, former Member of Parliament for Ewutu Senya East, former Minister for Special Development Initiatives, Fisheries, Aquaculture Development, and the MPP National Women's Organizer hopeful. Congratulations, Madam. Truth stands, as we say in Commonwealth Hall, and vindication is always in the womb of time. What a story. What a story. Are there more stories like that going to come up for the 2024 elections where we're going to see a lot of the things that were said untrue? I don't know why they gave me Honorable Koryoo's picture. Madam, good night. Don't do that again. Okay, good night. I think that people may forgive you. You're a woman, so people will forgive you. Women are very important to our society, and we adore women. Without women, our society will not be where it is. And once you're a woman in leadership, we want to support you so that we can have more women in leadership. But don't be telling lies, Madam. We beg. Don't tell these lies. They are too bad. When you see Hawa Koomson somewhere, send her a text and say that let bygones be bygones and we can move on. Apologize to the young people and we can move on. But don't do that again. Okay, please, we beg. Don't do that again. It's 10 o'clock on Thursday night. This is Good Evening Ghana is live. Next is another matter. PDS. Eventually, the chickens have come home to roost on PDS. What is PDS? What was PDS? Who used it for campaign? And why is there so many government statements coming out of PDS very, very quickly? PDS is a company that entered into a relationship with the Electricity Company of Ghana. The idea of giving parts of the assets of the Electricity Company of Ghana to a private operator to manage had been developed under the first President Mahama administration. Sometime in 2015 and 2016, detailed engagements were had with a company from, I believe, South America. This country where they send out a lot of people to the rest of the world. What are they called? EOCAM. They send them that country. No, it's not Cuba. It's another one. It's EOCAM. So that the people are from that noble country, and they were having conversations with Ghana's ECG. PDS appeared to have inherited that of sorts. When Akufo-Addo's administration came into power, they continued with the process. And then PDS started working, as it were, really under the Akufo-Addo administration. So some staff of ECG became staff members of PDS, and they designated some parts of Accra for them to start do a pilot and let's see what happens. Rumor made the mill that ECG workers were going to be sacked as a result. Politics, as usual, came in, and it was said that the whole PDS was a charade, that there was some grand corruption of Akufo-Addo and his cohorts because they wanted to take over ECG, because Ken Ofori-Atta has said in one of his speeches that he thinks that ECG should float on the Ghana Stock Exchange and receive some private participation. Based on what Ofori-Atta said and based on what was happening at the boardroom with PDS, it was widely alleged that Akufo-Addo himself and his cohorts were part of grabbing ECG. Okay. The Akufo-Addo administration became concerned about these rumors because they knew that it was flatly untrue. So they decided as a government to take a look at the details of the PDS documents and see what is in it at all, so that the president can tell the people that I'm not in it, this is what it is, that's what it is. The finance minister can do the same. But the PDS arrangement was connected to MIDA, the American investment that gives African countries a democracy dividend money for doing N1 road in Accra and other stuff. MIDA had decided in that period that they were going to help Ghana to shape up the energy sector because they thought there was a lot of leakages, particularly with the Electricity Company of Ghana. Now, MIDA, in doing so, in supervising the project of ECG, will pledge some money to the budget of the government of Ghana. So that had been done. And PDS was a partner that MIDA had approved. That's very, very important. PDS was a partner that MIDA itself had approved. Now, there's an interesting twist. The current managing director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, of the ECG, was at MIDA at the time when MIDA approved the PDS arrangement. He, who is today ECG boss, under President Mahama, appointed by him, was at MIDA at that time. It's a very important information, and you get the difference when we come in. So, Akufo-Addo decided to investigate this whole MIDA process. A delegation of high-profile government officials was dispatched to Qatar to go and investigate an insurance guarantee that had been offered by PDS. So what is an insurance guarantee? In very simple terms, PDS wants to take over some of ECG. We have to be sure that they have the resources to pay for it. If something goes wrong, what's going to happen? So they are going to bring a guarantee that if I destroy something, this is $100 million that I've put down that can fix all of those things. And PDS will normally get that from insurance companies and banks and all of that. Now, they call that insurance guarantee to insure like you're insuring your car against accident. So you insure the PDS contract. against potential losses by ECG, if any occur. So that's the guarantee. It was found out that the guarantee was faulty. You can call it fake, but perhaps we say faulty. And so the guarantee will no longer stand. On account of this, the Akufo-Addo government decided to pull down the PDS. The political people have said Akufo-Addo is PDS. Akufo-Addo pulls down PDS. They say, no, it's corruption. He's doing corruption. And PDS was listed as one of the corruption platforms that the MPP had indulged in. That Bawumia had made money from PDS, Akufo-Addo has stolen money, PDS. When we come, we'll investigate PDS and we'll catch all the thieves around PDS. And all the young people were excited that the PDS, they go catch them in the PDS. But what was PDS? Government decided that this private partner had a faulty insurance guarantee and therefore we are pulling it down and ECG will stand as it is. How can that be translated as corruption? But it was said that it was corruption. Okay. So at that time, the NDC felt that PDS should not be pulled down. That Akufo-Addo has done the wrong thing because pulling down PDS offended MIDA, and MIDA said they were going to withdraw some funding from Ghana. They named the figure. They were going to withdraw some funding for Ghana. NDC went hard on it and said that look at what Akufo-Addo is doing. He's pulled down PDS and therefore we are losing money. The same people who said PDS was his corruption. So the conversation came to a head at the Appointments Committee hearings of 2021. The nominee for Minister for Justice had appeared before the committee. The minority leader, the Honorable Idrisu Haruna, who is today Education Minister, was very concerned about why PDS had been pulled down, and he thought that PDS shouldn't have been pulled down. This was Haruna Idrisu's considered opinion about PDS in 2021. So what's the NDC saying today? I get very worried when I see all the publications coming. What is the NDC talking about? Your minority leader was of the clear view that PDS should not have been pulled down. You ought not to have pulled PDS down after they had said PDS was corrupt. Today, PDS being dissatisfied with the process sues the Electricity Company of Ghana in an international arbitration. They wanted $390 million. That's what PDS wanted. Let's see what the arbitration said. I think some of you may have seen it already. And let's get to the government statement then. Let's get to the government statement. Okay. So it says here, it's a press release from the Ministry of Energy. The Ministry of Energy and Green Transition wishes to inform the public that the government of Ghana has taken note of the final award rendered by the London Court of International Arbitration in the matter between Power Distribution Services PDS, Ghana Limited, and Electricity Company of Ghana. PDS had commenced arbitral proceedings at the court against ECG, seeking various damages arising from the termination of the concession agreement. After a full hearing, the arbitral tribunal in its final award dismissed all claims sought by PDS. All. Importantly, the tribunal further found that the demand guarantees issued in respect of the transaction were void ab initio and consequently held that the government of Ghana was entitled to terminate the concession agreement. Let's stop there. The arbitration held that the insurance guarantees were void, and therefore the government of Ghana were right in terminating the agreement. This is the central question. The NDC felt that the termination of the agreement was wrong and it breeded corruption, and it has something to do with corruption. The arbitral panel, who is not NDC nor MPP, they don't even know much about Ghana, they look at it and they say the government did well. The government of Ghana did very well. In parts of the ruling, they go on to commend the government of Ghana that the other African governments were doing this, blah, blah, blah. They said the government of Ghana did the right thing by terminating the agreement. That's what the arbitral panel said. And this statement is being issued by the government of Ghana, but of another party. Because of time, the thing has come at the time the NDC is in power. Let's see what they say after this. The government notes, that's the NDC government, notes that this situation should never have arisen in the first place. The poor decisions made during the selection and approval process of the concessionaire, which led to the formation of the power distribution services under the previous administration, directly contributed to the current outcome. Okay. It goes on. As a result of those decisions, Ghana lost approximately $190 million in compact funding from the U.S. Millennium Challenge Corporation in 2019 and missed the critical opportunity to implement key reforms within the energy sector. The ministry assures the public that all necessary legal and administrative steps are being taken to recover any amounts due ECG and the state as a result of this process. The ministry reaffirms its commitment to accountability, transparency, and sustainable energy reforms consistent with His Excellency President John Dramani Mahamed's agenda. Okay, let's get it done. So they say here that the concession agreement, which was approved, blah, 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 was the problem. Now, that concession agreement had MIDA playing an important role in approving the concessionaire. Who was MIDA? The current ECG boss. He was MIDA. So if there's any blame that should go to those who approved the concessionaire, he should be the one taking it. But they know that Ghanaians don't know that the MIDA guy was the one, is still the one. They know that people don't know that. They know that the media may not dig into that. They know. So they put out the statement. That's how politics has become. That's how politics has become. They put out the statements knowing that, oh, Ghanaians, they don't know that the MIDA guy, they are not even going to check. But the guy who was at MIDA is the guy who is ECGMD today. What do we do with that? What should we do with that? The arbitration thing comes down and suddenly there's plenty statements from government about the same matter. Plenty. Nobody's asking them anything. Nobody is saying anybody has done anything. The Ghanaians are going to look at it and they will judge for themselves. Because they heard what you said about PDS. They have seen what PDS has become. They have also seen your statement from PDS. The Ghanaian people will judge it. There's no problem. No, nobody needs to be talking plenty. The Ghanaian people will judge it. They will judge it. They will know what to do. So let's not worry about it, isn't it? Okay, we don't have much time. So I'm going to put the PDS matter here. We'll end on this one. And now, let's go to that sensitive interview I talked about. Before then, though, let me show you. So what's the interview about? The interview is, all right, let me take 2 messages each, or 1 message each on the PDS from my social media editors, and then I'll be ready to take that story. So let's begin with Fatih.
Right. Sentiment has something to say. He says they lie and label others as liars. They cause trouble and label others as troublemakers. We are a low-thinking society. We feed our emotions with lies. The brain is a special gift from God, but we fail to use it. Our brains should be able to divide between the sacred and the profane. February also says the PDS was contracted to invest in ECG to make the company efficient, expand and increase revenue, like the government's decision for the involvement of the private investor in ECG. PDS came into the operation of ECG because of the Millennium Challenge. Because of the Millennium Challenge compact within the corporation in US. ECG terminated the contract of PDS because of fraudulent documents presented by financing partners of PDS. If after 3 years at International Arbitration Court of a case of $390 million judgment debt by PDS after termination of the contract and ECG have won the case, we expect the government to be circumspect of any contract that will allow a private investor to invest in ECG after the lesson drawn from PDS. And lastly, coming from Ibiofe, he says, please name all the CSOs and leading commentators who campaigned to thwart the PDS project. Shameless nation reckon people. What do you have for us?
From Jonas, dedication the sea in the womb of time is actually proven to be right. The PDS contract was one of the issues that made so many people hate the Nanado government and his appointees. Indeed, we have to give time to some time. Everything will turn good for us. Benjamin says, Ghana should not leave this kind of behavior or let it go away. Mr. Speaker must take action on this so that it serves as a deterrent for others. How can an honorable MP act this way and lie as well? Is that how we are training our children to become? Lastly, from Toby, he says, by 2028, when the veil of the NDC is lifted, Ghanaians will troop to Akufo-Addo for his atonement. All right, back to you, Paul.
All right, so let's get into the story. So there's an American citizen who is worried about something. He says that he's trying to bring in $100 million to Ghana's public exchequer, and he's going to bring that $100 million each week, and he's going to do that continuously for 4 years. According to him, he began engagement with the government of President Akufo-Addo, and he feels he didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. He migrated into the NDC government, and now he's worried that he's being circumvented. And in that process, Ghana might not get the money at all. He's even afraid for his life. He's unable to appear for a live television interview in the studio. He says that he will speak from a coded location. The story sounds very much like a story that Good Evening Ghana had been interested in 12 years ago. So as I said earlier, 12 years ago, by stroke of fortune, I met somebody who gave me a tape that had to do with Ghana. And the famous Ghanaian businessman, Aka Blamieza, whom I heard about when I was growing up, he was a famous businessman from the Western region. He became even more famous when he invested heavily into a football club. The name of the club was Second Day 11 Wise. And 11 Wise sort of bought all the big players in Ghana in those days. And they did very well in the Premier League. And they even went to Africa. I think they won the Waffle Cup sometime in the 1980s. Blamieza was known for his theatricals and also for his expression of wealth and also as a generous person. Blamieza ran for president of Ghana in 1979, back in the day, in that third Republican election, but he was disqualified by the Electoral Commission at the time, Mr. Justice Kingsley Nyina. And so after the elections of 79, Blay went abroad where he had been living, came back in the mid-80s to take over Second Day 11 Wise.